Hello and welcome. Carrie here from Healing Humanity, the power of a proper human diet. And today I'm honored to have two of my good buddies on, my good friends, Jeff DeProsperous and Dwight Garlow. And Jeff is currently on a journey to be cancer-free. Dwight is overcome type 2 diabetes. He's been carnivore for several years. He's helped a ton of people out, Jeff included, myself included, and a bunch of other people. And today is the moment we get to introduce Dwight, because I think both myself and Jeff, you've mentioned Dwight in several videos before. Everyone's like, who the heck is this Dwight guy? So welcome, Jeff and Dwight. And how you guys doing?
Thanks, Kerry. Thank you. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Kerry. And thanks, Dwight. My subscribers, there's not a week goes by that I don't get 2 or 3 messages. When are we going to meet Dwight? Okay, so I just want to say, we'll explain our stories in a second here, Kerry, but here he is, everybody. He's my medicine man. He's my best friend. He is the nicest human being I ever met in my life. And when my channel is called Blessings on My Journey, and Dwight is one of my biggest blessings the last 2 years, and he knows that, and I'm so eternally grateful for him. So Dwight, thank you for being here, and I'm super proud of you, and I want to show you off to the world. So thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks.
Yeah. Before you give your little backstory, because there's people here that might not know Jeff's story or Dwight's story, so they're going to give a little bit of backstory. I just want to give credit where due and second what Jeff just said. I got to film Jeff and Dwight for Healing Humanity when we were out there, and Dwight is awesome. You got like this Zen attitude. It's just great being around you. You cooked one of the most incredible meals I've ever had. I still have dreams about it. It was a buffet of carnivore foods. I've got video of it. It's going to be in the documentary. I can't wait to share it. But when I left, I said the world needs more Dwights for sure. Dwight's just a really, really good dude. So maybe we could start, Jeff, if you could tell a little bit of your background and your story for those out there that don't know it.
Sure. Sounds good. Thanks, Kerry. It's quite appropriate because this is middle of May, end of May. So I'm just coming up on my 2 years of doing chemotherapy. I was diagnosed back in April of 2022 to have stage 4 colon cancer that was fully metastasized to the liver. So my liver's fully covered. Many tumors, I don't even know how many. The primary tumor is in the colon. I've done to date 44 rounds of chemo over the past 2 years. I had a few breaks here and there. I've had a lot of success over the last 2 years, and I'm planning on continuing having success. And one of the main things is over the past 2 years has been my diet, the Carnivore Diet, that Dwight introduced me to, and we could talk about that later. Fasting and exercise and supplements, along with chemo. I have a naturopath doctor, an osteopath. I go to hyperbaric. I have a doctor there at hyperbaric. I've integrated some practices, some breathing techniques, some cold plunge techniques, sauna. Dwight's a big fan of sauna. He got me going on that. So I've built a regimen. And like you said, Kerry, you came to film me and Dwight in the fall. And you started the Healing Humanity documentary and the website, and my regimen that I've built with huge help from Dwight is on that website. And the main reason is I started a YouTube channel. My father actually passed away in the fall, back in September, and I think the next day I had a round of chemo, and I came home. And I made a video for Kerry that he was doing the 24-hour live event, and you showed it, Kerry, and it kind of took off. And Dwight's been kind of my coach as well when it comes to me sharing my story with the world. He's encouraged me, along with my sons and my wife and Kerry, to keep the YouTube channel going, and I'm doing it to help others. But it helps me as well in return, because I have such amazing subscribers that are always leaving me comments and writing me messages. So I think I kind of summed it up, they Kerry. And I just, I haven't seen any, and we'll come back to me explaining why, but I haven't seen anybody for a while. I've been off of YouTube for about a month because middle of March to the middle of April, I was in Italy with my son, and I'll talk about that in a bit. He had a soccer experience, a soccer excursion to train with a professional soccer academy. So we went there for a month. And when I came back, I needed to get back to my regimen, the things that I was doing for the cancer that is inside of me that I'm trying to get rid of. So I have to refocus myself, and I just want to apologize to everybody that haven't seen me in a while. But yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Love it. So Dwight, you have been carnivore ketovore for several years now. Could you tell us a little bit about your story and your background?
Well, mine started about 5.5 years ago when I got told I was, well, type 2 diabetic. He said pre-diabetic, but I was like I said earlier, I was like 6.45. Like, how could, I was like so close to type 2 diabetic. I was a type 2 diabetic, right? And now that I'm what I know, I was definitely I was a type 2 diabetic on the verge of possibly my fourth metabolic syndrome marker, I guess you would say, about to happen, right? So I got told I was type 2 diabetic. I dove into YouTube. I was looking for answers that I couldn't find. I couldn't find these answers on YouTube or from my doctor, from family, that I was. It wasn't happy. Everything that I was finding was to just mask the symptoms. They were all band-aids to, they were pills or they were drinks or things that just made it worse, I guess you could say. Didn't help me. Definitely didn't help me, right? It was just masking the symptoms. So I got told I was type 2 diabetic. I shouldn't say immediately, but I changed my diet immediately, but I went plant-based in the beginning. So this is kind of takes me back to meeting Jeff, because around when I met Jeff, I think I was doing plant-based at the time. I tried plant-based, and then I only did that for 6 months. After diving into the research and analyzing the nutrition value of just only eating vegetables, I realized that I was deficient in so many vitamins and nutrients, and how do I get those back? That led me to carnivore, or more ketovore. That's when I started adding meats back into my diet, and then from there I just weaned off. For some reason, I know you guys probably, maybe not Jeff, but I don't know if you did ketovore in the beginning. Did you do keto in the beginning?
Me
Carrie?
or Carrie? Sorry.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I did everything, but I did ketovore for a while. I did.
Yeah, but and you wean off it, right?
Yeah.
Like you just slowly get rid of the veg, because I don't know why you just do it. It's useless.
Just feel better. Yeah, you start listening to your body more. And you're like, I just like that fatty meat.
Dwight, I was going to interrupt you for a sec, Dwight. Dwight introduced me to the carnivore diet back in May 2022, 2 years ago. But I was skeptical, obviously, and I phased. I was keto, then I was ketovore, and then I was carnivore. Just like Dwight said, I'm like, what? Because Dwight would teach me, okay, there's a few plants that you can eat that won't cause much harm, but then after a while, I'm like, why am I even eating them? Because they're not. They might not be giving me any harm, but are they really giving me all the benefits I need? Like, do I really need to have a handful of macadamia nuts? Like, I can get the same amount of selenium from a ribeye steak, really. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, why am I eating this? So anyway, sorry to interrupt there, Dwight. Keep going.
Yeah. So, so like where were we at? So I got told I was type 2 diabetic. At the time, I had rheumatoid arthritis. I had high blood pressure. My waist to height that was way off. I was very, very obese for my height. Fatty liver, fatty. I'm visceral fat. I'm imagining that I had visceral fat all around my organs. With at the time that I was diagnosed. Those were the main symptoms, I guess. So when I left that first appointment where he told me I was type 2 diabetic, I left with 5 pills to kind of mask or band-aid the situation, right? I asked the doctor. He told me I had this for the rest of my life. And that wasn't acceptable to me, right? Like Jeff knows me. I'm competitive, right? I'm super competitive. I took this as competition. So I that's when I dove into YouTube looking and researching. And to this day, in the past 5.5 years, I've watched over 5,000 videos. And this is all I do. I jump in my car. If I got an hour ride, boom, I throw a podcast on the way home, another podcast. And it's just podcast after podcast on different subjects now.
Literally, if I call Dwight in the middle of the day, the first thing I say to him is, hey, what are you watching? Or what have you watched? That's basically how we start all our conversations.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm a little bit, but not that much. Dwight's like the encyclopedia of carnivore content.
Absolutely.
Oh, I just love it. This is the stuff I love. If I could turn back time, I'd probably become a physician of some sorts. So I can help people further. Right now, when I'm helping people, I got to send them to their doctor to get their blood work. Tell your doctor you want this and hope that their doctor will comply,
Right.
But anyway, so that was kind of my journey into becoming carnivore. I was told I was a type 2 diabetic, that I had high blood pressure, all this stuff, and it just wasn't acceptable to me. I wasn't going to take these pills. And I'm not telling people not to take their pills. That was just me, right? There had to be another way. Yeah. And then that's when I dove into YouTube. But actually, I met you, Carrie, long before the health side of stuff.
Yeah. What was that? You mentioned that when we met in person. You saw one of my homestead
your homestead videos.
That's crazy.
I was looking up on how to do a greenhouse, and you had something on your thing about how to do your greenhouse, and yeah, that's where I first. I think if I remember correctly, that the one that I was like, yeah, this guy's gonna do it. I think you were like sitting under a canopy or in something, and you had this box of pills.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. And you were talking about it, and I'm like, this guy's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
I was mad in that video because I'm like, man, all of these pills, because my whole adult life I was taking all that medication. Don't need any of it now. It was just the nutrition. But Dwight, you got such a crazy story. And not only did you go carnivore, help yourself, we're going to talk about how you kind of interacted with Jeff as well, but you've helped a ton of other people. Just for those that are watching right now, Dwight and I did a video dedicated to Dwight's story, becoming carnivore, overcoming type 2 diabetes, helping a ton of people do the same thing. So you guys got to check that one out. I will have a link in the description. I'm going to post it right after this video. It'll be on my channel, so you can check that one out with Dwight and his whole story. But I don't want to interrupt. I want to hear more. But what could you tell us, like, how did the interaction with you and Jeff then happen? How did you guys meet and hook up?
All right. So we were coaching. Well, we didn't coach together at the time, but he was part of the phys ed department where I was coaching at his school there, and we got to know each other. We did. We coached soccer together, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was our first sport that we coached together, and got to know him. He's a good guy, and we did that for 2 years, I think, or was it? Yeah, 2 years.
Probably leading up to the pandemic, probably, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Leading up, because I think we went through 2 of the big tournaments that you put on.
Yeah.
And then I come back, Jeff's there, and then all of a sudden he's on leave. And nobody goes on leave that fast for no reason, right? So, and it's just all quiet.
After the
Nobody's
pandemic,
saying, nobody's saying anything. I'm asking questions, and I remember this. So I remember, okay, just before he leaves, I remember he coming. We see each other. I'm coaching volleyball, and he comes to me and he's like, Dwight, and he said he went plant-based, right?
Yeah.
And, I'm like, oh no, like that's what I'm thinking, right? Yeah.
I remember that exact conversation. I remember it exactly because it went down like this. It was this was like the fall of 2021 because I went off January 2022. But Dwight was coaching volleyball and I was the phys ed department head, and I went up to Dwight and I was excited to see Dwight because we were just getting sports back from after the pandemic. And everyone's come out of their caves, their homes, out in the public again. So I go up to Dwight and I told him, because that was September, the past summer, because we were in lockdown in June of 2021. I was making so much food, just like everybody was. We were barbecuing for our families, but it was filled with all these garbage plants and sides and everything. But I was eating so much, I decided I blamed it on the meat. And I blamed it on the alcohol. So I cut out meat and alcohol. So I went plant-based, and I went up and I tried to tell, because I knew Dwight was always Dwight and I, we like to talk about sports. We like to talk about health. We like to talk about nutrition. So I wanted to share that with him. And right away, he started telling me, and I'll never forget this, how bad tomatoes and peppers and those things are for you.
The nightshade family.
That's the nightshade family, because he knew I was Italian, and that's a staple in our household, right? Growing all those nightshades. But he said, if you're going to eat it, make sure you skin the pepper or tomato and take the seeds out, because they're all full of lectins and they really rob you of all your nutrients and they mess up your digestive tract and everything. So I had that in my back of my mind. I go, this guy's crazy. What is he talking about, right? Next thing you know, I'm taking a leave of absence like 4 months later. And then Dwight, you can tell the rest. Sorry, I cut you off again. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Let's piece it together, right?
Yeah.
So he tells me he goes plant-based, and again, nobody changes their diet for no reason, right? So as soon as he said plant-based, and then like a couple days later, through the first season sport there, he talks about some gut issues and things, and then that's when he goes on leave, and I'm like, there's something else is going on, right? So I'm reaching out to other phys ed department personnel that I know, and I'm like, what's going on with Jeff? Nobody would really say anything, and then it became an indefinite leave, and that's when I was like, yeah, there's something going on here, and I just took a stab at cancer. So I text Jeff and said, hey, you mind if I send you a video or something along that lines, right? And
no, it went exactly like this. He starts he goes, hey mister, right?
I call everybody mister.
Yeah, he calls me mister, right? And that's a sign of respect. And he goes, I hear you've been off, are you okay? And then I think I might have just wrote back, yeah, I'm not doing well, I'm sick with cancer. And then he goes, can I send you some videos? And then that's when I'm like, what is he going to send me? Some movies to watch to comfort me or whatever. And you know what was great, though? It was the perfect timing, I think, when Dwight approached me. Because when I went off work in January, I didn't even know I had cancer. I had to diagnose myself. Like, I didn't sleep for 3 months, like November, December, January. I didn't sleep. Obviously, because I was having digestive problems because of the colon cancer and the liver's all messed up, right? Covered in tumors. So, when I went off, I didn't know I had cancer. And then Dwight, when he sent me that message, I wish I could find that, if I could go back in time and find that 2 years ago. It was roughly around April, right after I got diagnosed, leading up to chemo. So it was perfect timing. He sent me some videos. I watched them. I think the first video that Dwight sent me, you remember what it was, Dwight? You want to tell the world what it was? The first video? Do you remember?
It would. I think I wanted to make
cancer.
an impact, right? Yeah, I wanted to make an impact. So I had to decide: do I send him like Footloose, or do I send him? What do I send him here?
Here's greenhouse video.
Yeah. So the first one that I had on mind was the one with Dr. Berg and a guy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Dr.
Dr. Berg
Berg and
Guy. It was Guy, and then there was Dr. Berg and the other guy, the French guy. What the heck was his name? I can't remember. Anyways, both these guys got interviewed by Dr. Berg, and they both did 21-day fasts. The guy, I can't remember his name. He'll come to me eventually. He actually ate ribeye steaks. He did a 21-day fast, and he came out of the fast and he ate ribeye steaks for like the next 60 days. That's all he ate. Like, he did a little bit of green juice at the beginning, and then he got rid of it. He realized, why I don't need the green juice. So he sent me that video, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm not going to eat for 21 days, and then all I'm going to do is eat ribeye steaks. And Dwight's telling me, and Dwight goes, if I had cancer, I'd be doing exactly this. He said that to me in a text message, right? And then the next thing you know, I start getting interested, and then all of a sudden, you know, I hid myself from the world because I was so ashamed going off work. I didn't know what I had. I diagnosed with cancer. Dwight was one of the first people that, you know, came and visited me at my house in my backyard. And then we started talking about more videos and talking about supplements. And Dwight, you know, we're going to get into that in a bit. Dwight has helped me build quite the supplement regimen for a cancer patient, because Dwight listens to the gurus like Dr. Peters, Peter Osborne. Thank you. Dr. Peter Osborne, Ben Bickman, that understands insulin. So Dwight, he's a guru when it comes to, especially when it comes to diet, fasting, supplements. And I've learned everything off of him from that point on.
That's incredible. I just want to interject one thing real quick. There's not to just flatter Dwight, but there's probably like no other person. It's kind of uncharted territory, right? Supplements for cancer while you're doing carnivore. There's like not a lot of people in the whole world, and you just happen to have this one dude sending you the stuff and hooking you up. Because I can't think of, like, even your like naturopath, like they're pretty good with some of this stuff.
Well, you know what? Let me say it this way. I'm using the medical professionals for what I need them for, or what I think I need them for, because I've educated myself so much over the past 2 years. And if I don't know it, I pick up the phone and I call Medicine Man Dwight, and he answers my questions right away. So, you know, when it comes to stuff like, especially diet and supplements, conventional medicine and the people that work in conventional medicine, they're a little bit, what I've realized is they're a little bit behind on the research and what's going on. And not only that, they're behind in knowledge too, to be honest with you. They not too many of them have taken courses on nutrition or supplements when they were in their medical schooling. So, you know, and I come in with questions all the time, because Dwight's like, okay, next week when you go to chemo, I want you to get this test drawn from your blood, get this vitamin check, get this mineral check, get this. So I go in and I got all this list, and these nurses and doctors are looking at me like, who is this guy? He's asking for all this stuff, right? But Dwight has taught me to take control. That's the main thing. Take control. Okay. And that's where I'm at right now. I really need to take control, because I have to reset, and I'll tell you guys why in a second, Carrie. I don't want to ruin your little structure to the interview night, but you know, with people like Dwight, like surrounding yourself with the right people, and Dwight is my number one person other than my 2 sons and my wife. You need to surround yourself with the right people and have the right people in your life when you're going through anything in life, right? Because if you don't have that support, then it kind of sucks. And I feel in the last month, I can tell you how I've been feeling a little bit, but you know, being on here with you two guys tonight, because Dwight's my best friend in real life, and Carrie, you're my best friend on YouTube. It makes me feel good. So thank you.
Likewise. So just to jump back real quick. So Dwight's telling you about the supplements, and big no on doing the vegetables. So you move into carnivore, but Jeff, when you first started and were diagnosed with cancer, weren't you sort of more on the standard American diet, not quite on carnivore when you first started chemo?
Good question. Yes. so it was around this time 2 years ago. Okay. I started chemo and I did 3 rounds, and my chemo regimen is every other week. I go on a Wednesday. Okay. And I would get chemo in the hospital on a Wednesday, a full bag, a full load. It would like 3 or 4 hours. And then I would leave with a bottle, a different type of chemo. And I would have that attached for 2 more days. So when I did my first 3 rounds, I was still skeptical of what Dwight was trying to teach me. He was just warming up to me in the middle of April, and he knew I was starting chemo. And then when I started feeling kind of, sorry, my language here, kind of crappy after the effects of chemo and how tired I was and fatigued I was, and Dwight kept texting me, and then he came to visit me. Then I started getting more intrigued, started listening, and started to really have an open mind to what Dwight's trying to teach me here. So yeah, the first 3 rounds, I wasn't carnivore. I did not fast. I wasn't going to a natural path. I wasn't taking supplements. And it was horrible. And it's kind of funny because here I am 2 years later resetting, and I'm figuring out, hey, I need to do this more because I know it works, and I need to do less of this because I know it doesn't work. Right. So I'm kind of revisiting. And Dwight even said that to me, like when I think a couple weeks ago I was out, and Dwight helped me revamp my supplement because we're constantly updating. Dwight and I we go to the grocery store, and we go in the supplement section. He helps me pick out my supplements, this and that. So I constantly have to revisit what I'm doing, and I know what works and I know it doesn't work, like I said. So yeah, hopefully I didn't go off on a big tangent there.
No,
It's
no.
hard not to.
I know,
Even when I was
know.
talking earlier, I was like, wait, he asked me about diabetes, and how did I end up over here?
I know. How did I get there?
But we should let everybody know, though, like when we started working with Jeff, we went slow, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're carnivore now, but we didn't start you out as carnivore. We kind of eased you into it, right? And same with the fasting.
Fasting, yes.
I told him, like, try to do a 12-hour. We started
That's
at
right.
a 12-hour, and then we bumped it up. It took him a little while to actually even do a 3-day fast around his chemo.
It did.
But
it did, totally.
It made you feel a lot better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm having and I'll be honest with you, and then we can talk about this in a bit, Carrie. You can lead into it, but I'm having some symptoms this week. I've been and actually the last few weeks, because I've switched chemo regimens, and I didn't fast around chemo the last 2 rounds. When I came home from Italy, I did a 10-day fast, and I felt phenomenal. I was resetting myself, right? But then I started a new chemo regimen, and I'm just trying to get my mind in the right spot. So I have chemo again next week. I'm going back to my fasting, my 5-day fast around chemo, right. Sunday night to Friday night. So I'll be doing that the rest of the time, along with longer fasts, because Dwight's told me many times. He said he would have did a bunch of 21-day fasts already, but that's Dwight, right? And everybody's different, and and everyone's going to move at their own pace. But I'm ready for it. Like I did a 10-day fast when I came back from Italy, so I'm warming up to it.
How was the 10-day fast, Jeff? Because I know it 8 days was before the longest.
Yeah, 8 days. I did it with you, right, Carrie?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it together, and that was super awesome, right? And like I said, doing stuff with other people makes it a lot easier in life. And Carrie, I admire. Please say hi to Jen, your wife, because I really admire what you guys are doing now as a couple. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot easier when you do things together, right? So Carrie motivated me to the 8-day fast. The 10-day fast, I'll be honest with you, I motivated myself, and I motivated myself by some harm I did in Italy. So do you want me to get into that?
Yeah.
Okay. And I feel really bad for myself, for my family, and for everyone that's been caring for me. Dwight reminded me of this like last week. He's like, there's a lot of people that have been spending a lot of time and energy on you, Jeff. So, you got to get back to what you were doing, because there's a lot of people that care, right? Including someone even like Dr. Anthony Shafee. Dr. Anthony Shafee said to me, because I was on a call with him, we did a call, carnivore and athletes and carnivore and kids. We did a little call. And he said to me after the call, because we were talking about how I was going to Italy. So this was probably the beginning of March. I did a call with him. He said, when you're there, don't break. Don't break your diet. And you know what? It didn't happen. So I'm a little bit ashamed of myself. But I'll tell you what happened. I got to Italy. We were there for 4 weeks. My son was training with the professional academy. The first week, I grocery shopped. I actually did a few shorts when I was in Italy. I think you guys saw it. I went to Burger King, McDonald's right away, got their patties. Patties are way better there, by the way. And they have like Parmesan cheese, like way better cheese. Really nice. And then I went grocery shopping. And the first week I was cooking Peter and I carnivore dinners in our Airbnb. Second week comes around, he's getting full into the training where he has a training in the morning for an hour and a half. And then he goes back to the academy, hangs out with the international kids, has lunch with them. So what's lunch in Italy? They're making pasta, right? A lot of carbs. So I encouraged my son. I said, Peter, you know what? You're a teenager. You're here in Italy. Just eat the pasta with them. Okay. I told the woman in the residency that we eat a lot of meat. She did make Peter some meat, but it was mostly pasta too every day. So he was eating pasta. Then he had a training session late at night, like till 9 o'clock at night. And by the way, in Italy, everybody knows this about Europe, they start eating at 9:30 at night. They eat dinner, starting cooking dinner is 9:30 at night. And then they eat till about 11 o'clock. And then they go strolling, they go walking, they do a lot of active things. So maybe that's why they're a little bit more healthy than the North American people, because they move a lot. And a lot of their foods are less GMO'd. But what ended up happening after the nighttime training sessions, there are these pizzerias right there. And it started with, you know what? We went to this one, and it was in my parents' hometown village, which was like 7 minutes away from where Peter trained, actually. We went there one night because we've been there many times. And I remember when the boys were like little, when they were like 6 and 8 years old, the last time we were in Italy, I took them to this one pizzeria and they loved it. So I took Peter there and we went in. And I convinced myself, thin sliced. This is not too many carbs. I had a glucose monitor on. I was checking, and I got no sauce put on it. I just got Parmesan cheese and two other meats put on it. He made it especially for me. Didn't have much of a glucose spike. That was the first night. But then we started doing it more frequently. And then I was getting sauce on the pizza. And who knows if the sauce had sugar in it, right? And then it turned into gelato treats. You know, we're in Italy. I was on a different planet. Like I felt like I was like, this is the thing I've been working for my whole life with my son Peter, his dream and my dream too. Let's be honest with you. All us parents that have our kids in sports, we want our kids to do the best they can in sports, in school, whatever. But I put so much time and energy into Peter, and this has been his dream, that I wanted to have, you know what, we were in Italy. And the sad thing is the third week and fourth week, I felt like garbage. I was losing sleep at night. I wasn't sleeping well. Okay. And I thought it was the bed in the Airbnb, but no, my insides were all tight. I was feeling a pulse on like my stomach area. And I started freaking out. And I was like, the tumors are growing. And my wife and my other son, Dante, joined in on the third week and fourth week. And it was rough the last 2 weeks. The sad thing was I got to that point and I still, because it was Easter time, we went out for Easter dinner and we ate Italian style at a fancy restaurant. My family was there. I was living in the moment. I was checking sometimes I would get a glucose spike, sometimes I wouldn't. I'm like, okay, maybe that gelato didn't have much sugar in it. It was like dark chocolate gelato. I don't know. Like, so I was like, anyways, I came back from Italy on April the 9th. I set up a scan for April the 10th, and I wanted to have chemo on April the 11th. Before I left for Italy, I had a scan maybe a couple weeks before Italy, and it was good and bad. 2 of the larger tumors on the liver got bigger. All of the rest of them got smaller. My colon cancer tumor basically was non-existent. There was no blockage in my colon. So when I was leaving for Italy and taking a chemo break, right? I'm going for 4 weeks. Not only am I taking a chemo break, I messed up the carnivore diet. I did not fast. I brought my supplements and I was taking fenbendazole at the beginning, and I stopped taking that because I was nervous that the fenbendazole I didn't know what was causing all this. I started taking my supplements. I stopped. I wasn't going to a naturopath. I wasn't going to an osteopath. I wasn't, I was walking a lot. I wasn't doing my normal exercise, like my push-ups and going for sprints and jogs and this and that. So I convinced my oncologist to give me a scan when I come back, and he didn't want to do that. He's like, a month, 5 weeks later, he goes, because the government, I'm sure the US is the same way, in Canada here, they're fun. Okay, cancer patients get scans every 3 months, then 6 months or whatever, right? So I convinced him to give me one. And then when we got back and I had the scan, the next day I go in for chemo. He came in and he's like, Jeff, I don't know what to say. I've never seen, like, you've had quite a lot of progression on your tumors, on your liver. He was blown away. He's like, in retrospect, it was good that I made him give me that scan. Dwight actually told me, make sure you get a scan when you get back from Italy. Remember that, Dwight? You told me to push for that. So I did. Yeah. And then, so that day, like, I had the scan. I got home from Italy on the 9th, the scan on the 10th, the 11th, I went for chemo. He tells me this. But the thing is, when you get some growth, the chemo doctors, they blame it on the chemo not working. And Dwight and I, both him and I think, like, this is the third line of chemo I'm on. I did one line of chemo for a full year. And then from the fall of this school year, I started another one. And then now that I got back from Italy, I'm on a third line. And because they just see the chemo is not working. They don't understand that, hey, I didn't do my carnivore. Oh, I told them I didn't do my carnivore diet. And this is another thing that kind of drives me a little bit nuts. And sorry, I'm going to vent here, guys. There's a couple, like, people that work in the medical profession. I'm not going to say if they're the doctors or nurses, but a couple of the conventional people that I would tell them, hey, I did this to myself, the way I was eating. I caused this problem inside of me. They're like, no, you didn't. It has nothing to do with the diet. You were in Italy. They would say to me, I'm glad you ate this way. And they got to understand what people hear. Because when someone says to me, I'm glad you ate that way, they're like, to me, I'm taken as, you're glad I jumped off a bridge? You're glad I'm like committing suicide? Because everything I've been doing when it comes to the carnivore diet and fasting and all these things, all these regimens have been working for me. So they don't really understand that and see that, right? And see the big picture. So that kind of bothers me a little bit. I'll tell you something, and I'm going to brag about this individual. My osteopath, who Carrie, you met, Dwight has met, okay? He's in Hamilton. Actually, Carrie, you filmed, I have 2 osteopaths. You filmed the second guy. But the owner of the osteopath clinic, he treated me. And by the way, since I've been back from Italy, because of the way I've been feeling, I go, I'm not going to go to the naturopath. I'm not going to fast I'm going to get back in the carnivore diet. I got to get back on that. Well, after my 10-day fast, I did a 10-day fast. I'm going to revamp my supplements. So I'm trying to revamp everything. But the only person I'm really going to go to, I have to go to chemo because I'm this far along. I wish I didn't. Is my osteopath. And my osteopath, when I went into him and I said, I'm touching, I go, you feel that bump there? And I go, that tumor? And he's like, that's not a tumor. He's like, and he was told, he's like, my oncologist didn't even feel me or anything. He's like, that's just your duodenum. That's the start of your small intestine coming from your stomach. He's like, and everything is congested. My osteopath said that to me. And he said, you probably caused it by the diet that you switched yourself to in Italy. Right? And it makes a lot of sense because you put a lot of stress in your digestive system. Right? And he says, because of the stress I put on my digestive system, you probably stressed out your tumors as well. So the osteopath made me feel good about that because he was understanding what I'm not saying my osteopath, and he'll probably admit to that. He's not a fan of carnivore, okay? But he knows what I'm doing, and he knows what I'm dealing with when it comes to cancer. And I think he thinks I'm doing the right thing to a certain extent. So he made me feel good when he said that to me. That I probably caused some harm and caused stress on my tumors. So that's where I am, Carrie, when it comes to, me getting back on the horse of life. And the crappy thing is, I just want to explain this to everybody because this is mainly why I haven't been around. I haven't even been doing shorts. The new medicine that I'm on, it's called cetuximab, CERTUXIMAB, cetuximab. It's an antibody cancer targeting medicine. Some people say it's an immunotherapy, but it's not really an immunotherapy because it doesn't supercharge your immune system. It's just a cancer targeting antibody that goes after the cancer cells. So I get a bag of that. So that's not chemo. This is cetuximab. It's an antibody medicine. And then after that, I get a chemo. I get this irinotecan. Irinotecan was actually the main ingredient in my first line of chemo that I got my first year, from May 2022 to May 2023. So it's one of the ingredients that was in my first line of chemo. So that in my mind, that chemo worked really well. So I'm back on that. And Dwight always wanted me to ask too. He's like, ask when you can go back on that. You know, how long do you got to wait? Because cancer cells, they do get, they become almost resistant to chemos. But then there's got to be a certain time when you can go back on that one again, right? So, but anyways, here I am. The cetuximab and irinotecan. Irinotecan causes a lot of digestive problems, which I remember from my first year. And I really had to master the carnivore diet and making sure I had a lot of fat and magnesium and electrolytes and the right vitamins in my diet. So I got to master that still right now. I'm resetting myself. And then the cetuximab, the antibody medicine, the main thing they told me is it causes skin toxicity, a severe rash. And they come out and he goes, he subscribed me antibiotics I got to take in the morning and night. He subscribed me a cream that's an antibiotic cream and a steroid cream. I have to put it on my face every night, on my hands, on my chest, on my back, plus the antibiotics morning and night. Well, he's telling me all these things, my oncologist. I'm like, hold on a second here. Not only am I switching chemos, you're going to give me these antibiotics, which I don't want my body taking morning and night. It's good because we all know your body becomes dependent on antibiotics. It messes up your digestive system. It's going to mess up my microbiome even more. So anyways, I said, I don't want to take them. He's like, okay, listen. 5 years ago, when he used to subscribe this cetuximab with the chemo, he said, we never used to give the antibiotic, but the rashes got so bad and they were almost inevitable that they had to start prescribing it, the antibiotics. So I said to him when I left after my first round of chemo, that was on April 11th, about a month ago, I said, hey, I said to my oncologist, because I do get along with him, and he supports everything I'm doing. I don't say he agrees with it, but he supports it. So I said to him, I promised him if the rash came on, I would start taking the antibiotics and using the cream. So 5 days later, I got it all over my chest. I got it all over my back, and it looked like, they call it an acne-like rash. My face, guys, and I don't even think Dwight saw me with it, but if you squeeze my forehead, I would have white acne coming out of everywhere, every pore. Like my face is, I look like a teenager with like the worst acne ever. Okay. So like, it was horrible. I didn't even want to go out of my house. And I dealt with this. So the first week back, I started it. It came on 5 days later. By the time it doesn't look that bad right now. I know you guys can't see on camera, but now the antibiotics are finally working and the rash has gotten a lot more manageable. And that's what they told me. So you know what? Now I have to fight not only the new treatment I'm getting from chemo with this cetuximab and the other chemo, I also have to battle with the antibiotics, which is messing up my microbiome. My osteopath helps a lot with that. And that's why I've been going to him twice a week, him just adjusting my organs and making sure my digestive system is working well. So that's my long story there on that one, Carrie.
Wow. With the antibiotics, are you still able to fast, or do you have to?
That's a good question. That's a good question, because you're supposed to take it with food, right? So, and even right now, even though I'm not like doing long day fasts, in the morning I wake up, I still intermittent fast on my eating days. Like so I pop it in the morning, and sometimes I feel nauseous. I think that's only the downside. I think maybe the antibiotics do work a little bit better with food, but yeah, that's another thing I'm thinking of. What about when I'm going to do my 5-day fast, right? I'm going to take my antibiotics in the morning and night, because I don't want to be a giant ball of acne.
Right. Wow.
So something that I've been looking into for Jeff too, and I can't find it out there, is so he's taking the antibiotic, right, which is going to affect the gut, which is going to affect the absorption of vitamins and minerals. And then adding a fast to that, which is going to do the same thing. Well, it's not that your body's going to your body needs the B vitamins, right? Well, it needs all the vitamins and minerals. Just the fat soluble, not. It's a little bit more abundant in the body if it's stored than the B vitamins. Those you need every day, right? So, what dosage of B vitamins do we need to be giving, or should he be on, in order to, one, combat the effects of the antibiotics on the gut, the chemo, and the fast?
Yeah.
Right. So how much should you be taking to combat or to get some of the benefits of the vitamins and minerals? That I cannot find. I can't find it anywhere. And to me, the oncologists, they should know this.
That's right. And
they should know that this.
I was just going to say, Dwight, they like even on the chemo I had before, I think it was Fofox, and there was oxaliplatin, which causes neuropathy, right, Dwight?
Yeah.
We all they tell us it causes neuropathy, but it's not the oxaliplatin, the chemical in the chemo, that causes it. It's the fact that it depletes all your cells of your B vitamins, right, and all your vitamins and minerals, right? So they don't. That's where I was hesitant with the whole rash thing, even, Dwight. I'm like, you know what? These people don't know. I'm carnivore. I'm eating carnivore. Italy didn't even happen to me. Okay. I know that's my dream place and I love it. For soccer, my parents came from there and I would love to live there someday. But that experience never happened in my mind. I'm carnivore. I fast. I exercise. I do a lot of supplements. So I'm not going to get this rash. So that's where I thought, and this is where I kind of felt very defeated. Carrie and Dwight, I felt, I have, Dwight, the past month, I felt defeated because the past 2 years, Carrie, you've seen it. And Carrie, you're doing way more than I am right now. After you came to visit me and film me, you were bragging on how much energy I have as a cancer patient and doing and all this stuff. And I'm going to get back there. That's my goal. But in the past month, I haven't had control because of this new regimen, the cetuximab and the chemo and the antibiotics. It's messed me. And that's what's really and it messes with your mind too, right? Because all of a sudden I was in control. There's people here in my hometown that think, and I'll say it out loud right now, there's people that teach at my high school that think I'm faking cancer because I've looked so well and, and I'm out there and I'm coaching kids and I'm exercising, I'm doing everything. Now all of a sudden I got acne all over myself. My microbiome's messed up. I'm taking antibiotics morning and night. I feel like I have no control, which that is the biggest thing that's driving me nuts right now. Because in conventional medicine, from what I've learned, and I'm sorry to say this, when someone's sick, they just give you pills. They give you more pills. They give you more pills. Carrie, we've talked about this many times. They prepare you to die with pills, right? So, and that's what I'm kind of feeling like a little bit right now. I don't feel like I'm going to die anytime soon. But that's what I feel like right now. I just feel like that control has been taken away from me.
Man, it's such a tough situation. I wish there was something I could say to you. I just anything we can do to support you. Because then I think about it too, from the mindset and how important it is to not be stressed out about this stuff. And the stress may affect your cancer and things like that, but it's so much easier for me to say than to be in your position. I can't imagine, what you're going through, sort of thing. So
thanks, Gary. You can just tell me to eat more meat.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Well, hey, anything I can do to support you. You want to do another fast together? You want to do some sort of challenge? I'm here for you. Anything I can do.
21 day.
21 day. Right, you in? Let's go. All three of us.
I think. Well, I'm gonna have to do it soon.
Here's a question, Jeff.
I definitely have to do it. My next step. I know Dwight makes it sound so easy all the time. But
I know.
My next step is definitely a 14-day fast.
Okay.
I think Dr. Anthony Shafee, when he was on a few times, he said he would be doing 14-day fasts once every 2 months. Right?
He's amazing. He's awesome. Yeah. But don't you kind of be easy for you to say that? But
I know.
But he's awesome. But Jeff, one question I had. when you did the 10-hour lives, when you did the 10-hour fast,
10 day.
10 day, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry,
When
no
you did
problem.
when you did the 10-day fast, how hard was it on day 8 and 9?
Easier. That was easier.
I wonder, there's something like when we did the 8-day together, by the time we were getting to day 8, I was going crazy. It was like, it wasn't that hard, but I had that expectation in my brain that we're done on day 8. So the body's like, oh, it's coming. So I wonder,
you want to eat. That's right.
Yeah. I wonder if 14 is going to be much harder for you than a 10 if you have the expectation that it's 14. Obviously, it's going to be hard either way, but
I think Dwight's going to help me plan this properly with bone and with bone broths and even
vitamins.
supplements and even animal fats, right? Because if I just eat fat, it won't break my fast, right, Dwight? Or will it?
You're not going to get an insulin spike from it.
You won't get an insulin spike,
right?
But it'll break autophagy, right?
So that's where Kerry's got to bring Ben on.
Ben Bickman. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll ask him those questions because so from what Ben says, there's no insulin spike. Is it breaking the fast? Is it, so they say, I think it was 20 grams of protein to break your fast. So what's the number of grams of fat? Nobody talks about fat,
right?
In that way.
It's like it's uncharted territory. It's like you guys are figuring out stuff for the first time. Important stuff.
See, yeah, Dr. Boz, that's another one that I want Jeff to check out. Is it might be hard for you, but she does the sardine fast, right? So she went to, I guess it's not a fast if you're eating sardines, but that's all she ate. Actually, she had her students do it too, and she still saw all the benefits of the fast from eating the sardines. Now, did you get into mitophagy? I don't know.
That's right, and that's where Dwight. That's where I like. There is benefit. There's obvious benefits to autophagy and mitophagy, right? But then at the same time, what we learned from Professor Seafried, maybe it's just about the GKI too, right? Just keeping your glucose super low and the ketones high, right? And then, and that's the thing too, because I really, Dwight got me going on hyperbaric, and I just started doing that again this past week. 2 days a week. I go Tuesday, Thursdays, hyperbaric. I'm actually embedding naturopath back in tomorrow, guys. I'm doing high dose vitamin C tomorrow, but naturopath twice a week. Getting back to the GKI, Professor Seafried says when you're at those hyperbaric machines, they work the best for cancer patients when they're in the high therapeutic state of ketosis, right? So most of the time I've been going to this hyperbaric, and my glucose is like low 5s to 5.6, which is all right, I guess. But like I need to be in a fast where it's in the low 4s, almost like 3.9, stuff like that, where I know I can get to my glucose, and then get my ketones up, and then hopefully the oxygen will hit those tumors a little better with a good GKI score.
Yeah, I'm so fortunate to just interview Professor Seafried, and it's funny that you mentioned that, Jeff, because he repeated like word for word what you just said. Part of the interview, we interviewed him for like 2 or 3 hours, but he was talking specifically about that.
That's awesome. And I know you told me he said hi to me. And
it was one of the first things he said. How's Jeff doing?
And listen, Dwight, if I wasn't going through what I've been going through since I'm back from Italy, I would have came. Dwight and I were going to drive together. So next time you talk to him, say you're going to get some visits from some crazy Canadians.
He'd be happy to have you. We just do it the next time, right? I told you, Jeff. He said at the end, I said on your behalf, I kind of gave him the same thing that you said to me when I introduced you to Dr. Chafee. Jeff wants to thank you because you may not know this, Dr. Chafee, but you're his doctor.
Yes.
Dr. Chafee like stepped back. He's like, oh, okay. And I said similar to Professor Seafried. I said, Jeff just wanted to say thank you because your work has helped him out a lot. And then he said, Jeff's got to check back in 10 years and we're going to write a paper on him.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, give me 2 minutes. I just got to.
Sure. Yeah. So, hey, quick shout out to Dwight while Jeff steps away for a minute. As I mentioned earlier, if you're just jumping on here, Dwight and I did an entire video together with Dwight's story, which is incredible. Carnivore, ketovore for several years, overcoming type 2 diabetes. helping just a ton of people. Dwight, you have an open invite anytime, but I'm hoping to do this big thing. I was going to ask you this earlier. Dr. Barry recently launched this ADS, the new American Diabetes Society, I believe he's
Yeah.
calling it. Did you hear about that?
Yep. I saw his. It was maybe a couple. Was it a couple Mondays ago, or was it one of his? I can't. I did watch it though. Yeah, he did mention it, and then right away I thought, because I text you and I said, ask him if he's got shares, right? Because
Oh, that's
when
right. Yeah.
Baker did his Rivero, he was offering, for people to buy into it. And
Right.
just at the time, I should have. I was too new to not too new to carnivore, but I didn't want to fall into something that fell apart. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know where something like that could lead to.
Right.
And then he closed it off, and he couldn't buy into it anymore. And so if Ken was going to do something like that, I'm going to be jumping in on that.
Yeah, I'll let you know if he opens anything up. I don't think he is right now, but I'm excited for what he's doing there. That former organization for diabetes is criminal, but I'm trying to put this together. I think I have about 5 people right now, individuals that have overcome type 2 diabetes, eating a proper human diet. And I want to get like 20 maybe. But I know you've helped a ton of people as well. And all these people I keep interviewing, they're just like, wasn't that hard? Like I was a life sentence, type 2 diabetes life sentence, and they're kind of pissed off because you're like, it wasn't even that hard. Just change your diet, get over that sugar addiction, and I'm no longer type 2 diabetic. This last guy I talked to for 12 years, he was just suffering so bad, so much money on medication and insulin for 12 years, and he was like, I think he said about 3 weeks to a month, and he had reversed his A1C, and he's no longer diabetic anymore. After thinking that was a lifelong thing. So I'm hoping to do a big video with all of those individuals and possibly, fingers crossed, get Dr. Barry to come on for that one as well. And
that'd be awesome. I'm in. Yep, I'd like to join that.
Is that for the type 2 diabetes thing you're talking about?
Yeah. I'm trying to get together because, Jeff, this is the thing that drives me nuts. Dwight and I were talking about this earlier. We hear all these amazing carnivore stories like yours, Jeff, like Dwight's. And then you hear the doctors or the cynics, and they're always like, that's just an anecdote. And it's like, how many anecdotes are there, man? There's like tens of thousands. If you look at Ken Berry's video that he did on reversing type 2 diabetes, he's done 3 videos now on how to reverse type 2 diabetes. Each one of them has like 2,000 comments. So that's 6,000 comments between the 3. And almost every comment is like, you saved my life. I reversed my A1C. I no longer have diabetes. I did what you said. It wasn't that hard. It's like 6,000 right there. But that's going to be the challenge with this documentary is the cynics are going to be like, well, Jeff DeProsperous, Bill Knott, Maggie, those guys are just anecdotes. And we're going to have to try to show the scale of it somehow.
Well, I know you got a video coming out with Dwight on the type 2 diabetes coming out after this video.
Yep.
So that's great. Did Dwight talk about what he does for a living and what the business he owns where he lives?
Not really. I don't know, Dwight, if you want to talk about that a little bit more now.
You want to mention it? Because I do want to mention, because here's the thing that we're constantly, Dwight and I together, we're constantly trying to think of things that I can be doing to up my regimen all the time, right? Like, for example, I did a lot of research on fembendazole, right? And, and then Carrie and I, we talked to like Shafee about it. We talked to Seaford about it, and there's a lot out there, right? And this is the fembendazole I was taking,
right?
And it's like a powder, and I was sprinkling it in my water. Then I started putting it on butter because it's supposed to be better with fat food. But anyways, a pain in the butt. Now I get, you can't really see that, Fenben Lab. It's a pill. So I'm taking that. So I'm doing that, and there's a lot of benefits to fembendazole when it comes to blocking the pathways that cancers feed off of, right? So that's but what I'm trying to get at with Dwight is not only is Dwight so knowledgeable when it comes to nutrition and health and wellness, he's got a good business going out there that he's been helping me a little bit, because also there's been a lot of studies being done with cannabis, right, Dwight?
Yeah, lots. So Mostly I deal with the CBD, CBG, CBN, and CBC side of the cannabis. Those cannabinoids. Um, I take so. Let's start out by saying I believe that plants are for medicine. Right. All
Yes.
plants are for medicine. There's a medicinal value to plants. I mean, medicine is medicine now because my upbringing taught me that these pills that existed today were derived from the medicines that natives passed on.
Yes.
Right. We took this bark and then we made this aspirin. We took this and we made this pill. Right. Um, so I've been doing a lot of work on the mostly CBD, and the effects it has on cancer. Some people would know it as RSO, the Rick Simpson oil that he was using. His wasn't exactly CBD; it was more THC, the cannabinoid THC. Um, but the overwhelming, again, everybody call it anecdotal, but the overwhelming response of people getting not even going through chemo or anything else. All they're doing is taking the cannabinoids and reversing cancer. Right. I've not been able to. I don't think you can reverse diabetes and these other things with this, right, with this cannabinoid, because diabetes again is it's a hyperglycemia, hyperinsulinemia issue, and this you're not getting that from. But I'm a firm believer that people are eating too much medicine. Right?
Yeah,
all these salads, all this stuff that you're putting into your face, that's too much medicine.
Right.
Causing
I just
issues,
want,
right? Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to go back. I want to go back a bit, Dwight, just to say the past 2 years, even about a year and a half ago, when Dwight said he told me I need to sleep more, right? That's how where your cells heal the most. And because Dwight is an expertise when it comes to owning a dispensary. He owns a dispensary out on the native reserve where he lives here in Ontario. And it's an apothecary, and it's the whole purpose is healing, right, Dwight? That's your whole purpose of your business.
I call it my house of healing.
That's it.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's what
house
it
of
is.
healing.
It's my house of
And
healing.
So he started giving me CBD brownies that Dwight's daughter made. They were keto brownies, right? So because I started out keto when I first started 2 years ago. So he was giving me those, and I just break a little piece off, help me sleep better. And then, as I transitioned into carnivore, he's like, Jeff, you don't want these brownies anymore, or these gummies that he was making me up. He started giving me the pill form and this and that. So I've been on and off. I didn't really take it on a regular basis, but I take it when I needed to sleep well. But, I know Dwight has been doing a lot of research right now when it comes to like not just CBD and CBG, but THC and a ratio of THC to CBD. So right now, Dwight's made me like small micro doses almost, right, Dwight? Pills that I need to build up my tolerance. Okay, because there is a lot of research. Dwight has been talking to some experts actually about cancer fighting when it comes to THC and CBD used in the right ratio. Okay, for cancer fighting. So, but the problem is to get to the certain point where all the studies are being done, I'd be stoned all day long. Okay, and so I'm warming up at nighttime, taking these lower dose pills, and hopefully we can get to that point where I can take the right amount that is going to be real cancer fighting.
Right.
So I just want to mention that Dwight has a amazing. I'm blown away every time I go out to visit Dwight. You've been there, Carrie?
Yeah,
Dispensary.
I was blown away as well.
It's gotten even better. Like it's
That's awesome.
getting better and better. Yeah.
I just want to say on that note too, I hate the fact that there's sort of this stigma or uncomfortableness around it because it's medicine and it's kind of like hindering some of this. There could have been more studies on this, but everyone looks at it like from a recreational perspective.
I had that stigma for my whole life about it.
Right.
right?
Well,
I always just saw anyone that smoked marijuana, they're a stoner, or they're
right.
this and that. They're not going anywhere in life. They're like you know what I mean? That's a stigma that we put on things.
Yeah.
And I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot from Dwight.
Well, and my argument against that too is this, like the whole documentary was Carnivore Diet, and then it was Proper Human Diet, and then it's like just do whatever's natural for human, and plants are natural, like you said, if you're using them for medicine. It's kind of, I don't want to go off the rails here, but one other interesting thing I wanted to ask you about this, Jeff, if you got a second,
Yes,
was
sure.
we have a mutual friend now too, Jason Watson.
Yes, Jason. Yes.
Yeah, so he came on and he actually did a video with Professor Seyfried the other day, which was crazy. I didn't even know. I was just flipping through YouTube, but he's off to the races.
Yeah, he's exploding on YouTube a little bit right now. Yeah, that's
yeah.
good.
So he did the psilocybin therapy,
Yes.
which to me was like, that's crazy. And there's a stigma in my head too. But then I'm like, wait a minute, this is a natural mushroom. But it was still kind of crazy to me. But I'm like, I want to learn more, because what he told me was, he's like, my fear of my own mortality and death just washed away after this. Or in other words, what he was saying was like, my stress went away. And I was like, well, if nothing else, that seems really important. Like if you're fighting cancer, it'll help you sleep and you're not stressed. And I'm like, I wonder if Jeff has ever considered something like that. It was crazy to me because I didn't know. He's like, in Canada, you get that under medical, like with doctor supervision, and it's all legit as a therapy. I don't know if that's anything you've ever thought of.
Well, you know, I've only thought of it because of Jason, and I met Jason in the chemo clinic actually, right? And we started talking about my doctors on YouTube, and he actually knew quite a few of them, right? So that's how we got engaged. And no, like you said, I even have a stigma with that, what he's sharing with me, but you got to do what works for you. And you know, it's all about reducing your stress and having a good mindset. And you know, he does psilocybin. Hey, I'm engaging in the THC and CBD because I know that I got an expert buddy with me that knows what he's doing.
Right.
So whatever works for some people works for others. And I know like Jason, he has esophagus cancer. He was telling and I was teaching him about the carnivore diet, right? Yeah. And he said he couldn't swallow any meat. Right. And so he's like, he's just getting into the carnivore diet now because he had a surgery and he can start doing things, right? So everybody's a little bit different, but I think the awesome thing what Jason's doing is like he's sharing his story, and maybe there's people out there that can relate to what he went through, right? And Jason's a great guy.
Yeah,
I have a lot of people that come through the apothecary that microdose on mushrooms, and it helps them out tremendously. Now, I've looked into the mushroom as well, and the only thing I can say about that is it might be a little bit more mind altering than cannabis, in the sense that we have an endocannabinoid system within us. We have a CBD system within us, right? And from my research, I don't see us having that system within us that it helps so many people.
Right.
These mushrooms help so many people when you're microdosing on them. Like Jeff said, it just calms them down. Like sort of the same thing as CBD, right? Calms you down. You're not feeling high off it, but you're feeling normal for a moment. Right? A lot of psychiatrists, psychologists, they're actually prescribing it now.
You know what's funny though? What is normal? Hey, Carrie, you talk about this all the time. And that's why, like, Carrie, you titling the documentary "Healing Humanity" is perfect, because there's too much of humanity that we've taken for granted, and we don't really know what life is like, to be healthy and to be fit and to be disease free. And you know, I know Dwight, like you got the perfect guy in Dwight when it comes to healing humanity, because that's why I think I love both you guys, because your whole purpose in being here is helping others, right? And that's what healing humanity is all about. And the carnivore diet is a big part of that. And I'm so gung ho. And I'll tell you something too. I wanted to mention this because I think I went around in a circle here, Carrie, with you. I said my son Peter was eating I told him to, right? He had kind of a choice. And when he was engaging in the Italian culture, but he was getting sore at nighttime. He's like, Dad, I've been carnivore. I remember this. This is like week 2 or week 3. We're in Italy. And he goes, we're lying in bed at night. And he goes, Dad, year and a half I've been carnivore in Canada, and I trained twice. He never got sore. He would have high school sports. He'd have club soccer after school. He'd go work out with me in the gym. He'd never get sore. He was sore there after 2 sessions a day. So he's like, he kind of knew. And he's kind of, since he's been back from Italy, he's a little more sluggish than normal because he's getting that out of his system.
Right.
And I do firmly believe now that, you know, my household, you know, my wife's keto, but both my boys are pretty much carnivore like me. We give them the odd berries and the odd keto treats once in a while. But once you've been so clean for a while and then you go that drastic, boy, do you feel it. And boy do I feel it. And I know my body. I know my body after these last 2 years. I did cause some damage, some big time damage in Italy by doing what I did. Okay. But you got to get rid of the past,
right,
and be focused on the present. The only thing I can talk about the past are the things that I know that worked.
Right.
And that's where I know, you know, I got to get back to doing what I'm doing. The only thing that makes me sad is I'm looking at you guys, and Dwight always has an awesome tan. Carrie, you're looking good from the Carnivore Diet. I'm told I have to stay out of the sun now. And Carrie, remember when you were here in the fall? I was cutting the grass with my shirt off and everything. Now I'm like, they say, because I'm starting to believe in the skin toxicity that I have no control over. So they say if you're out in the sun for a long period of time, it's gonna bring on the rash, right? So a little bit depressed about that, but oh well, I'll get over it.
Here's a couple little fun facts for you. So it's going to take 3+ months to get all that gluten out of your system.
Yes.
That you ate over there. So 3+ months, right?
Crazy.
And not going out in the sun means you might have to up your vitamin D. So here's another. So if you get the proper sun, if you're out in the sun at the proper time of day, if you can get out there, right, and you're out there with the majority of your skin exposed to the sun, in about 20 minutes, you're going to get about 20,000 international units naturally from the sun. And so that's when I was working with Jeff, that's why I started you at 20,000 international units of vitamin D3.
Oh, I think we started higher than that for the first couple of weeks.
Oh, just to get you up, right? We did 50,000 a day just to get you up, and then we weaned you down to 20,000 a day.
Yes.
Which I don't even know if in your case if that's still enough, right? Because your chemo, your antibiotics, and
I've been taking about 40,000 a day, and I'll tell you. And I probably should get it checked again soon, but I got it checked about 9 months ago at chemo, and it was like in the safe high range. And I don't even count anymore. I just sprinkle the D3 in and I put it in my hand. I got the 10,000 international unit pills now, right? But before I used to have like the 1,000, the 2,500s in Canada. So I'd have to have a whole handful to get my 40,000 international units, right? And you're right, Dwight. Like, how much do I need? Who's telling me how much I need to take? Right. Which conventional doctor? Okay, you're on chemo. You're fighting cancer. This is what you need. Okay. They don't study that.
They're
not up to date on that.
Dwight and I were talking about this a little bit earlier. With all the technology we have now, the continuous glucose monitor, all this, they should have something at this point where Jeff can like prick himself or something and be like, for Jeff's chemistry, his age, the fact that he's going through antibiotics, the fact that he can't get sun, like this is what you should be doing. But it's like, I go get my blood work done and they give me the numbers based on the standard American diet. It's like not even for the chemistry of a carnivore. It's so backwards. With all the technology we have, you think there's like a huge opportunity for anyone listening that knows how to do something like that. Customized blood work or something. It shouldn't be that complicated.
And then you could promote it on your YouTube channel and your Amazon business.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd use it.
Absolutely. No, for sure. Like I can't wait for I think the Libra 4, is it out yet, Dwight? The Libra 4?
I believe in the UK. Everything comes out in the UK first. Like
Okay,
even
let's
the new
talk.
keto monitor, right? They got a
Yeah.
continuous ketone monitor.
Yeah,
That's
Seafree told us
Yeah.
about that. Adam and I.
yeah, it's out in the UK. Maybe you can
I need
order it and
that.
get it shipped. I don't know, but
Hey,
it'd be nice
I'm gonna
to
tell you
have
guys.
one of those on.
Because Dwight, you brought up the UK. Italy is very behind, and I think Europe is too, in understanding how bad, let's just say, carbohydrates can be. Okay, and they're really, when I was shopping for meat, it was hard to find fatty meats. When I was talking to my relatives, actually in my parents' home village, and on the weekends we went there. And the first weekend they made me meat because that's all I ate. And then the second weekend I'm like, let's just get a thin crust pizza for dinner, and we got that. But anyways, they were blown away when I told them I've had colon cancer for 2 years and all I've eaten is red meat for 2 years. They were blown away because they said all their doctors in Italy say they got to be off of that. They got to stop eating red meat, just like they do here too. But I think carnivores, it's way more. It's caught on way more over here in North America than it has in Europe, right? Europe's way behind. I guess their GMO products aren't as GMO'd. They're plant products, I guess, right? But still, Dwight, a carb's a carb, right?
A carb's a carb.
I'm getting gluten.
A carb's a carb.
And of all the things I was eating, like I could have ate at least I could have ate some Caesar salads or something. I was eating pizza, like gluten. Like that's the worst. That's the worst one, I think. Like I know they're all evil, right? But even maybe fruit I could have had, but I don't know. But they're all the same. It doesn't
Actually,
matter.
that fruit would have probably been better for you.
Yeah.
The gluten's going to cause you digestion issues, right?
Yes,
Malabsorption of your vitamins and nutrients, and
that's what it did. It did cause digestive problems, big time.
From your fruit, you're probably going to get a
spike,
a bit of an insulin spike. But your body's going to take care of that unless you're eating like fruit every other second all day long. Then there might be an issue. But
I could just call Paul Saladino and ask him what to do. That's a shot at you, Dr. Saladino. When are we going to do a call with him, guys?
Yeah, I've never talked to him yet.
If we do a call with him, we have to do it with our shirts off, and we got to be walking backwards.
Right.
With no sunglasses on.
Right. Eating honey.
Eating honey. That's right.
Hey,
I'm gonna create a little short out of that clip right there and title it for Paul Saladino.
Right.
We're gonna go at him.
Well,
anyways,
the looking on the positive side though, Jeff, like obviously there's no judgment, man. You've been through so much, but now you learned and we learned too, because I wondered that. Like I knew if I ate some pizza or something, I'm gonna feel like crap, but to the extent it's like the gut biome, everything changes on carnivores. I think it's way worse for us as carnivores than just anyone that was maybe doing vegan or something or some other diet and then suddenly ate it. It's like there's more of a big pain point there. So,
Carrie, you said it. You said exactly what my brother-in-law Richard, and you've met him. He made you those special meatballs. But anyways, that's exactly what he said when I got back, and I broke the news to him how I was feeling, because I was kind of not telling my sister, my brother-in-law, how I was feeling the last 2 weeks when I was in Italy. We said when I got back and I told him, he's like, "Well, Jeff, now you know it works. Now you know how powerful the carnivore diet, what you were doing, is doing it. Like it's don't like, be upset with myself, but on the positive, it works, and I do know it works, and I even had one of my doctors, when I called him the first week back, was started to bring up the carnivore diet and how he's got no patience on the carnivore diet, and he's had many people cure cancer with being a vegan or vegetarian, and that's not what I wanted to hear. You know what I mean? Just like those certain nurses would say to me, "Hey, I'm glad you ate the way you ate in Italy." No, don't be glad. Like that's not what I want. We know what's been working for me, right. And that's the thing. The people that really care about you in your life, I find, they'll encourage you to do what works for you. They'll encourage you. Your friends will do that, right? The other ones are like, you're in Italy, you had to eat that way. No, I didn't have to eat that way. I chose to eat that way. Okay. So, but anyways, it's over. Enough ranting.
We got to fix your hiccup now.
Yeah, exactly. That was a big hiccup, but we're gonna turn it into a small hiccup because
each hiccup that you've had though has always been you went on vacation.
Yeah.
So no more vacations for Jeff.
I know that. He told me that. He did tell me
he
that.
He can't control himself.
unless Dwight comes with me.
Right.
I know Dwight's significant other. She would love to come to it. She told me many times she would like to come to Italy, and I said, okay, next time we go, you're coming. And if Carrie comes and Jen comes, hey, we'll bring the whole carnivore community to Italy, and we'll change Italy over.
Right.
Because they really need that for sure.
Or I was gonna say, Jeff, you the family, Dwight the family, come. It's not much of a vacation, but come here. You're not gonna get anything but ribeye.
Right. I'll do that.
No, we might. No, I think we're doing that this summer.
We got to do it.
We're going for a little road trip for sure.
We just went, Jeff. We were talking about this earlier, real quick. We've got 8 e-bikes now. We got a collection going. So we got to come.
Sweet. I know. I've been seeing the videos of them. They look awesome.
Yeah. Hey, so just real quick, I just want to say there's probably people watching this that haven't watched before, and they're like, what the heck are they talking about with treating cancer as a metabolic disease, carnivore, fasting, stuff like that? Go watch Jeff's channel. He's done several videos on it, Blessings on My Journey. But in addition to that, on healinghumanity.movie, Jeff, Adam, and I, Professor Seafried, Dr. Tony Hampton, we got all sorts of resources on there. I get this question every now and then, like, what the heck are you talking about? Or where can I find a doctor that does this? That's a pretty good starting place. It's just a free resource we have. It's our cancer action plan. And it has Jeff's regimen, and it has links to Professor Seafried's work. It talks about cancer as a metabolic disease that thrives on glucose and glutamine and the reasons for some of these things we're talking about. If anyone's listening here, I guess it's confused. There's more info there for sure.
That's awesome. Carrie, you everything you're doing when it comes to the healing humanity world, you've motivated me and you've motivated Dwight, because over here we're like, Dwight and I, we're planning things. I know Dwight's planning on even putting the healing humanity words up on his apothecary and having a little space that Dwight and even me we do some talks with people that need help, that people that have cancer, that people that had type 2 diabetes, where we can talk about it. We're doing carnivore meetups where I got these groups of like these women and more people are joining in, where we meet for coffee. We don't really drink coffee. We just talk about meat. And I guess they continued that meetup when I was in Italy, and they were going to a restaurant and eating meat. So we're doing all that great work that you're doing over here. And I just want to say thank you, Carrie, because you motivate us to do that. And Dwight's got all the knowledge,
right?
And we just got to get it out there. And this is my start. I know you guys have been wondering where I've been for the last month. So this is my start. I'm getting back on my regimen. I'm getting back to the YouTube world and back to helping others and accepting people to help me, that want to help me, for sure.
I love to hear it. I appreciate the nice words, but just to throw it back at you, I interviewed Professor Thomas Seafried for this documentary, Jeff. It never would have happened without you. That's 100% the truth. It never. I was sitting there thinking, like, what am I even doing here interviewing this guy? It's it's so humbling. It's such an honor. I think it's really going to. Professor Seafried's work, and then we got to interview 4 people on his team. His team is just incredible, the work they're doing. Never would have happened if you didn't introduce me to him. I didn't know anything about it. I'm ashamed I didn't know anything about any of this. Cancer is a metabolic disease, and it's just like I said before, cancer is a reflection of all these other issues: type 2 diabetes, obesity, all these issues we have in the world. It's just
Professor Seafried. This is where, if people are listening for the first time, he's one of the leading researchers in the entire world when it comes to cancer. Not like treating cancer as a metabolic disease, but even just cancer in general. He's one of the leading researchers around the world. And he's been doing it for how many years, Carrie? Like
30. This is what makes me mad. And I can hear it in Seafried's voice when he gets frustrated. 30 years he's been talking about this stuff. And he's like, they just won't listen to me. And what's even more distressing than that is Otto Warburg was talking about this stuff 100 years ago, cancer feeding on glucose. And then the whole thing went completely off track and decades lost. And now that it's coming back full circle again now. But so much time has been wasted. And so much money has been spent on standard of care when this is just completely ignored. And Professor Seyfried's been told, like, oh, this is dangerous. Like, are you kidding me? A ketogenic diet that humans have been eating since the start of time is dangerous, but radiation, chemo, all that other stuff, that's just fine. It's so backwards. I'm so happy you introduced me to him, because it's such an important part. Everyone needs to know about this for sure.
Hey, does Professor Seyfried eat meat? Did you go out for dinner with him? Did he eat some meat?
He does. He definitely eats meat. He loves
Okay.
meat. We didn't get to take him out to dinner. Adam and I were trying, but he was very busy. But
well, the thing is, he speaks about metabolic therapy, and everyone should check out Seyfried. Anybody that has cancer needs to follow Professor Seyfried and understand his works. But he talks about being in a ketogenic state and on a ketogenic diet. And, you know, he does it in a professional way. I know he doesn't really come out there and say that carnivore is the best thing, but in order to get your GKI and to be in a therapeutic state of ketosis, you need to be carnivore. And I think, who is it? Who's our friend from New York State? Kiltz, Dr. Kiltz. Dr. Kiltz always says it. He says, keto helps, but carnivore heals.
Yes.
Right. So, you know, that's the thing. That's the thing where anybody that has cancer, they have to realize that, like, yeah, learn about the ketogenic diet, learn about being in a state of ketosis, and then I guarantee they'll figure out the carnivore diet.
Right.
Because the carnivore diet is really the only way to get there.
Yeah.
Right.
It was funny when we were interviewing Professor Seyfried. At one point, he said that the best way to do this is carnivore, and then afterwards he's like, or strict keto. But
yeah,
I'm like, I said to Adam, that's how we edit right there. Boom.
Yeah, absolutely. You edit that. That's good. So, you know, Dwight had to do a little bathroom break too. So, but I'm really glad we got to do this video because this is coming out after we're doing a live, right?
Yeah.
The live's already
we
happened.
did it. We did it.
We did it already. We did it Thursday.
Thursday Night Live, Jeff update. Yep.
Yeah, and that's for the subscribers. And you guys we've already talked to you guys, and now we've introduced you to Dwight. I've been waiting to do this for a long time because I first started calling him Dr. Dwight, and then he's like, maybe you shouldn't call me that. Okay, so then I call him Medicine Man. He's okay with Medicine Man, and he's truly been that blessing in my life from the start of 2 years ago. So I'm really glad we got to carry that this has happened, and I want to keep this happening.
Yeah.
I want to keep, you guys motivate me to keep living.
Hey, 100%. I'm here for you anytime. Like I've on one hand, I'm like laying back because I'm like, Jeff needs to focus on his health and healing. And so if you need to take your time, I don't need anything, but I did miss you, miss the text and everything. Thanks. So if you're hesitant, like, don't ever feel hesitant. If you're like, think it's going to be a bother or something, definitely not. I love hearing from you all the time for sure.
Sounds good. And you gotta, next time you talk to Ken Berry, he's got to get me on his channel.
Yeah, he is so hard, man. He is so hard to get a hold of. In 3 weeks from now, Adam and I are going to be in Austin for Hack Your Health. Yeah, he's not going to be there, but Dr. Baker, I'm going to meet in person. Dr. Chafee, I'm going to have to live stream you or FaceTime you or something.
Hey, listen, if I can find a cheap flight and I can jump down there, I'm feeling good, I might just do it because.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
I remember when I was talking to you a couple months ago, like before I went to Italy, it was in the back of my mind. Like especially me taking the boys there, even and my wife too. And you know what? I want to talk about that just a second, a little bit here, because, you know, whatever you're doing in life, to have that support. I admire Jen. You know what I mean? Dwight's wife, I admire her. She supports him and everything he does. My wife has been wonderful with the keto diet, and just recently, you know, she's revamped her schedule. She says she wants to come to more of my appointments with me. She wants to come to the carnivore meetups that we're having with all those people that are carnivores. So it really helps. You know, I was saying I was going to take my boys and my wife maybe to Hack Your Health, but we'll see what happens. Maybe if I can just find one cheap flight, I'm going to jump on a plane myself.
Man,
actually, I might have to bring Dwight. Dwight, right. If we can find 2 cheap flights, we're gonna go to Austin, Texas, and we're gonna crash Dr. Chafee's Airbnb.
Yes, he's literally Jeff. He's like staying next door to us. So
I thought you guys were sharing an Airbnb.
no, we're next door, but there were talks that maybe Baker might be asleep on the couch one night at our Airbnb. I don't know. It's going to be crazy, but
Hey, I would love to have. I'll start practicing tonight. I'd love to have a push-up challenge against Shafee and Baker.
oh man, that'd be awesome. Jokes in
Hey,
there
Dwight?
too,
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll join in on that.
absolutely.
right? Well,
Yeah, but we'll give Shafee one of your THC pills before he does it.
nice. Awesome,
Just get him feeling good.
right? If that would be awesome if that happens. If it doesn't happen, the other thing, in either case, we still got to do. We talked about this before, Jeff, is doing some big meetup, Niagara
Yes.
Falls. Like
Yes.
I'm in, man. I'll personally fly out there. That would be so much fun. You, Dwight,
I think, and I've talked this about Dwight too, because Dwight has the perfect space too out on the reserve, right? And there's other spots too, and Dwight's pretty passionate, not only about helping. Dwight will help anybody, right, Dwight? I know you will.
Yep.
Right.
Anybody.
You'll help anybody. Okay,
as long as they're willing.
Yeah, but he does have. I know there's a lot of people out on the reserve that that are fighting things, that are sick with diseases that he wants to help. So, if we did something in Niagara Falls and then the next day we went to the reserve, that's pretty cultural especially for Ontario too. I think we could work something in pretty good there. I think
it's awesome. I did one at Montello Theater. It was completely free, and it was for the general public. People didn't even know what keto was. Some were keto curious, some were just carnivore.
Awesome.
We filled the whole thing, and it was so much fun.
That's when you had Hampton up on the screen, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It was just fun because normally we're kind of preaching to the crowd. A lot of people are already doing carnivore, or interested in it. This was just a whole other group of people and quite a few of them have come back to the theater, and they're testing keto, or they've already started and they're doing it. So it's a pretty awesome thing. I want to do that regularly going forward. Those meetups, I'll tell you what, Jeff, that's some good energy for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll do one of those every weekend if I could. It's so much fun. So,
no, sounds good.
Awesome. Well, this has been a lot of fun, guys. So you guys got to check out the video I did with Dwight. After this, I'm going to post it. Dwight has been carnivore for several years, helped a whole bunch of people out, overcome type 2 diabetes himself and a bunch of other stuff. So make sure to check out that video and check out Jeff DeProsperous. Blessings on my journey. Awesome.
Hey, can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
After this video comes out, maybe we can get a little thing from my subscribers and your subscribers. If they want us three on for a live, because Dwight, I think a lot of subscribers are going to have a lot of good questions for you me and Carrie and everything we're doing. So maybe people watching this video, if you want to see us live, we'd be willing to do that for sure. Because can everyone just say they do? Because I want to hang out with my two best friends on like a weekly basis.
We're only going to do it if you leave the comments. So you got to leave.
You got to leave the comments that they want us to do a live, and we'll start a live. We'll make up a fancy name for it. I don't know what, but we'll make it up.
Yeah, anytime. You guys let me know. I'm in for sure.
Excellent.
Awesome, good stuff. Dwight, do you want to say anything else before we close her up?
I want to give everybody some hope. There is hope. It doesn't matter what disease you have. It doesn't matter the ailment that you're feeling. There's hope. There's hope in change in lifestyle and diet, from diabetes to sleep apnea to allergies, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, eczema, just all these things that are caused by what we put in our mouths, right? So many things caused by what we put in our mouths, but it's reversible. It's repairable. All it takes is a little bit of willpower and a little bit of trust that it can happen. Trust that just because somebody's not a doctor, maybe they can help you, right? Maybe they can give you a little hope, right? And knowledge teach you, because knowledge is hope, right, Jeff?
Absolutely.
Having the knowledge is hope. I would like people to know that there's people like myself, like you, Carrie, like you, Jeff, out there that are willing to help. And my help is all free. I don't make no money off it. Don't ever want to make no money off it, because I'm not giving anybody anything new, right? Just remember how we used to live. Go back 100,000 years ago when there was no cancer, there was no diabetes, there was no hypertension, maybe genetically, but those were just anomalies, right? We can get back to that, and it's lifestyle change. So there is hope.
Awesome, man. That's a great way to end it. I love it. I'm gonna add that to the documentary because that's what we talk a lot about in there. Is hope. It's amazing what you can heal. We interviewed a lady that overcame Parkinson's and a full-blown stroke.
Yeah.
Absolutely thriving right now. You got anyone watching this? It's unbelievable, but you got to believe it. We have the medical records to prove it. It's amazing what's going on out there. So love it. Great ending. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Carrie. Thanks, Jeff.
You guys. Yeah. Thanks, Dwight. Thanks, Carrie.
Bye. Beep.